Game contains themes of possessiveness, religious trauma, and death. Please play with caution. Well, everybody, welcome to 1016. This game has been sitting on my Steam at like the top of my list forever, but I was trying to play like shorter games, and this is still like a one-shot game, but there are like 6 different endings. I think it's like at least an hour just to get one ending, like that kind of thing. So I don't know if I'm going to be getting multiple endings unless it's like really easy to do. I might just do it on my own, or unless I just like feel some type of way about it, I might get all the endings. Who knows? But this is a visual novel about being in hell, is my understanding. There's voice acting, original music, hand-drawn artwork. Like, the artwork also, the style of it looks incredible. It looks so cool. And this has just been so high on my list, and I just was like, you know what? Just fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I'm so excited. Let's just do it. Would you like to skip the game's intro? Why is it recommended for streamers and Let's Players? No, I want to play the intro. Why would I not watch it? Like, this looks cool. Yes. Come on. The colors and the tone, I suppose, like some of these really remind me of The Cat Lady, if anyone knows that game. The art style is not similar, but like I can't explain it. If you know the game, I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. But this just like, look at all these. Look at that. Oh my god. Be so for real.
Sometimes I sit and I stare at the rain.
Incredible. Sing me a song and play me your intro. I don't even know how long it is. I don't give a shit. Look at how cool. Oh my god. I'm so ridiculously into this. It's ridiculous.
Gone by, ashes to ashes, the rain is turning cold.
I'm just so excited. I like the description doesn't say a whole lot. Like the main Steam description. Look at her. Slay. But I love that it's kind of vague. Like, I want to know as little as possible going into this. Because look at all this. This song is so, like, Walking Dead coded to me. Walking Dead, or maybe, I would say Twilight, but this is, like, a little grittier for Twilight. Do you know what I'm saying? Does anyone understand what I'm saying? A visual novel? This is so fucking cool! Oh god! What was that all about, huh? Ooh, okay. The elevator's warmth was a relief from the cold waters of the Styx and the bodies inside thrashing on the water's surface. I knew the heat would soon become a fleeting feeling the deeper I went. I clasped a hand over the cross around my neck and took a deep breath. Scared me. That's fine. Because I was like, oh, there's no music or anything. Is there going to be any sound? There sure is, and it's going to scare me. That's for sure. The door closed, and the elevator began its slow descent down into the thick of hell. Each elevator ride had been vastly different from the last in terms of both the elevator itself and the length of the ride down. While the time between the first and second circles only took 30 seconds, the ride between the fourth and fifth took what felt like 30 minutes. Some waters were smooth and sleek, modern elevators, others were... My knees wobbled at the sudden rumble. I leaned my back against the wall. I felt like I was going to be sick. I'd rather not die a second time, let alone in an old elevator. I shut my eyes and hoped my stomach wouldn't give out again. The elevator stopped and its doors opened. My eyes were not ready for the immediate surge of fog that washed into the elevator like waves. I swatted some of it away as I made my exit from the insecurity of metal. Dirt scattered below my feet with each step. I was in a cemetery shrouded in deep fog. There was no sign of life, not even in the form of trees or wildflowers. All there was were tombs, some empty, some open and some empty, some closed. I called out into the mist, hoping someone would answer. The keepers of each circle have made themselves hard to find. At this point, it was expected. I called out again, my voice vanishing into a rasp as the fog ate my words. There was nothing to do but walk. As I trekked through the dirt between the gravestones, I noticed some of the tombs were on fire. Not enough to set dead grass alight, not enough to leave a smell. Eventually, I spotted someone in the distance, dressed in black and red, holding an umbrella. Were they a mourner? What would a mourner be doing in front of a burning tomb? I slowly approached, careful not to do anything too fast to set the stranger off.
Are you the one trying to make their way to Satan?
Probably. They were not facing me, their eyes still cast down into the flaming abyss below us.
Are you too scared to respond, Fallen?
Fallen? They turned towards me with a small smile on their face. Both irises were white, but the rest of the eye was drowned in different colors, one red and one black. Over their mouth was a muzzle, like one a dog would wear if it could not keep its mouth shut and canines unsheathed.
Welcome to Heresy, the Sixth Circle. My name is Dorian, and I am this circle's keeper.
Will you
I
slay?
know your name, Fallen.
Yeah! Look how cool!
That is a beautiful name.
Thank you. Do you really think so?
Of course. What reason would I have to lie to you?
I stared at the demon of heresy like the answer was obvious. Your circle is for false teachers of faith, for those who say falsehoods about the way religion works.
I've also taken the blasphemers and the liars under my wing. Does it bother you? You have been acquainted with my friends in limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, and wrath. Of course, the deeper you go, the more horrifying it may appear to be. But it is not as bad as you may have been led to believe. Truly, everyone has treated you well so far, correct?
I reflected on each keeper I had met before coming down to the Sixth Circle. They've all been nice. Is that surprising?
It is.
Should I be worried?
Worried about
Also,
what
my
they
cat's
do to
coming.
you?
Hi.
Of course not. They can't do anything to you here.
I would like to ask about the fires. Do I click? Okay. Why do some of the tombs have fires blazing within them?
You're curious. I like that.
We watched the fire in a nearby hole, dug deep into the ground, letting out exhaust and smoke which drizzled into the air.
Have you ever read the works of Dante Alighieri? His poetry is wonderful fan fiction. He wrote something about the heretics who come to my circle, that they would be burning for eternity in tombs. That's not the whole truth. Not anymore, at least. I did not like their agony or their screams as they burned, even when I removed their throats. Instead, I burn what I need out of them to add to my archives in the library.
Ooh, okay. In the flames were bones buried deep into the false earth. They looked thinned.
Their lies, their false teachings, whatever I do not already know. And then I leave their souls to wander until they die from a lack of purpose.
So, giving off very Wan Shi Tong from Avatar The Last Airbender vibes so far. Like, a mysterious knowledge being so far. But, like, they collect lies and falsehoods and stuff like that. Which is very cool. I also am a huge fan that there's voice acting, so I don't have to read everything myself. If I had to, I would. But it's just, it's a welcome surprise when I don't have to do all the work. You feel? But so far, I love this, that, like, they keep the setting blue and then kind of, like, the current happening or what I'm seeing red. I really love that. And this has a lot more of, like, a goal than I thought. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of visual novels sort of in this tone are a lot more... What's the word? A little less concrete. Not all of them, but, you know, a few that I've played and stuff have been very, like... Nothing is solid, like, it's a little more, like, idealistic. This is a little more, like, it's still a little bit, like... whimsical, you might say. It's a little like, I don't fully know what's going on quite yet, but it does feel like there's a clear goal. I'm trying to get through all the circles of hell, which I like. Can I help you? You want to be held like a baby? You're gonna be held like a baby. Okay. You collect heresy.
Indeed, among other things, because why not?
Fair enough.
Just because I like to collect pretty things. But enough of all that.
Dorian raised a hand out to the sky, palm up. There was a look of annoyance which briefly came over his face. I looked up to the sky. It was beginning to grow dark, filled with tones I had never seen before in rain clouds. Is rain coming?
Ash, for the first few minutes, the fall is not bad. But it can become worse than a raging blizzard. We should hurry back to the library. I'll return later to observe the fires.
He extended his hand towards me.
Here. The umbrella will shield you from the storm until we get you to shelter.
I could taste it in the air. The bitter remains of smoke had already made a home on my tongue. Okay, why not? Take his hand. I grabbed for the hand he was reaching with. It was cold, but I could not tell if it was from the fabric of his gloves or the temperature of his being.
Good choice.
Okay, what does that mean?
It shouldn't be a long journey. Don't let go.
Okay. And the two of us walked, through fog and past uncovered graves, whose fires blazed despite the upcoming storm. Dorian looked down at me every so often as we walked, but he barely said a word. Was he judging me? Or was he just making sure I was okay? I didn't know. The fog parted as falling ash began to take its place. I had learned about Pompeii when I was a child. I imagined that the citizens of the ancient city witnessing this fall of ash. What would they have thought if they were in my position? Unafraid and protected, certain of incoming shelter. Would they have found it beautiful? I would never get those answers. Birds flew above us. I could not see them, but I could hear their calls as as they shifted through the ash. Once the fog started shooting upward, as if to battle the incoming cinders, I spotted a large building. It reminded me of the cathedrals in big cities and tucked into countrysides. You're a demon like the others, right?
That is correct.
Then how come there's a building in a circle of hell that's themed like a Catholic cathedral?
You might call it blasphemous. And I suppose it is. In truth, I've always enjoyed Catholic aesthetics. Whether it be in their art or their architecture. Though, I can't say I love what they have to say.
They popped off with stained glass and architecture, and that's about it. That's understandable. It's not up to me or anyone else to change your beliefs.
That's right. People don't like for their opinions to be changed, but some of us are masters of the silver tongue. Some may be easily swayed because they have no opinions of their own. And once they gain this opinion, it's permanent. Others may be as vampires who are weak to the silver, and they turn away, and these rooms become echo chambers. It's why I've read the scripture and holy books from every religion ever uttered, and yet none stick with me. But I can appreciate the aspects of most of them. Does that make any sense?
I guess so.
Now, shall we go in?
As we walked on the steps, the front door opened for us. From it rolled in a dusty aroma, not like the dust and ash of the graves, but instead like old books and wood. Something about it was comforting, much more comforting than the storm, with its clouds putting pressure on the air and on my lungs. As soon as we entered, the doors shut behind us. I was greeted to an extravagant room lined with books on either side. Above me sat beautiful paintings of mythical creatures sitting among dead forests and empty beaches. Dorian placed his umbrella in a holder next to the door. There were 3 others clumped together, all from different historical eras.
You won't be able to go out until the storm passes.
Why not?
It will obscure where the elevator is. Hard to see, hard to navigate, and it could bury you. It's best to wait it out.
How long could it take?
I don't know. But you're not in a hurry, right? A few hours or even days is nothing when compared to the rest of eternity.
I was gonna say, I'm dead. I have nothing but time, my friend.
Are you cold? I can make you tea, and you can tell me your tale.
There was nothing else to be done.
Perhaps I shall give you a tour.
Sure.
Very well. You'd best hurry along then.
Dorian reached a hand out to me once more.
You might wander off and get lost. There are countless things in my library of lies that would draw even the purest of souls in.
Yeah? I grabbed for Dorian's hand, who knew it was lurking in the depths of Heresy's walls.
That's quite cute of you, darling Fawn. You've
Thank
done it
you.
twice now.
Well, you told me to this time.
Are you scared of something? Or are you trying to warm up to me? Come now. You can tell me anything.
Is he serious? If I'm being honest, I didn't want to upset you. You literally told me to. Dorian laughed, eyes closed.
Did you think I'd hurt you for not holding my hand? I didn't even insist that I wanted you to hold it. It was just a sign of beckoning, reaching out to venture deeper.
Really?
Perhaps, but I don't mind.
A blush settled against his cheeks. Is this like hell dating? This is so...
Certainly don't mind.
This is so not the tone I was anticipating. I'm fine, though. We walked past statues, books, globes, and artifacts. He explained that most of the books were of falsehoods, realities which people thought were real but never truly existed. Beliefs that were closer to fiction than fact. Some of them, labeled with pretty black and gold spines, were of truths, of the beauties that exist in the world. I asked why he, as Heresy, kept those. He didn't give me a straight answer. He said there was value in this knowledge. What was valuable about lies? And any time I wanted to reach for something, Dorian swatted my hand away.
No matter how you may preach about sin, shiny objects tempt you.
I wondered how old the globes were and what countries they showed. I wondered where he got them. I wondered if any of these books had been read by anyone other than Dorian himself. But why did I care? I wanted to leave eventually. I had to get down to the Ninth Circle. After what felt like 20 minutes worth of walking, Dorian stopped at an unassuming door. He let go of my hand and grabbed for the knob.
This is one of my many studies. I never get to use them, only for the sparse company.
He opened it and bowed, a free hand extended into the room. I followed his lead and walked in. The door shut behind us, and Dorian let out a sigh of relief. It was a room with 2 levels. 3 of the 4 walls were lined with books. The only light came from a window parallel to the entry door. Whatever lurked outside I was unable to see, for the ash was too saturated. What's the view out there?
From here, distant fires and mist.
I turned back to Dorian with an involuntary sigh.
Feel free to sit while I make tea. Do you have a preference on flavors? I prefer a floral blend myself, but I'll do anything for you.
Okay.
As long as I have it, of course.
I didn't want to have him go out of the way to make something to appease me. I'll just have what you're having.
Splendid.
He walked over to a small break in the shelves. I stared at the table in front of me, with 2 chairs and papers scattered about it.
You could move those to the side, you know. I don't mind.
I nodded and started to stack the papers. Most were unopened letters and archival notes, but one letter, half out of its page with a drawing attached, intrigued me. I want to read it. I took the papers out. There was one main letter of normal size that was accompanied by smaller pieces, each with a beautiful sketch done in pen. They looked to be of holy beings. Interesting. I read the letter attached, which was written in cursive in red ink. Dorian, I've sent some thumbnail ideas for the commission for the 14th wing. Let me know what you think. I'm really excited to start working on these. Any work you give me is such a pleasure. A. I hadn't seen any art pieces in the halls. Is there part of the library that has some? I placed the letter's contents back in their envelope and sat down.
I saw you read that.
I figured he would, but what am I gonna do, not read it? Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm sure you're curious.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't... First of all, you wouldn't let me touch anything before. And then you're like, you can move those papers. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. Who's it from?
A demon friend of mine. They're a painter. I've tried picking up the medium myself, but it just isn't my forte. I try to categorize the wings of my collection. Sometimes by century, sometimes by region. And I like to decorate them. I keep more than just books. There are artifacts as well.
Ooh. That's a tough call. I would love to see the collections. But also the letters are intriguing. I'm gonna go with collections. May I see the other wings?
If the storm has not passed before we're done here, then yes. I must admit, I am pleased that you're interested in what I have.
That's what I was hoping for. It's history. Even if it's weird history.
A history of lies and falsehoods.
Listen, I'll say it. That's an insanely sick idea for like a history/art museum. Tell me I'm wrong. I especially was just thinking while I was reading about when you walk in and there's pictures of mythical creatures, because it's lies and falsehoods, creatures that don't exist. So, can you imagine like a museum or art, an art museum or something like that with just lies and like the Museum of Lies or something? Like, that would be so cool. Oh my god. Anyways, Dorian knows where it's at. I would visit this library in a heartbeat, that's for sure.
That's the thing about a lie. They all come unraveled by the end.
He returned with 2 cups. One was a plain straw in a cup, which I assumed was for him. The other was a beautiful teacup with a gold handle and deep blue flowers painted like the night sky. Dorian placed the fancy cup in front of me and his on the other side. Finally, he sat down and twirled some of his hair around his finger.
I hope this is to your taste. It's blueberries, hibiscus, cherries, and some other fruits.
That sounds so fucking good. I love, like, floral fruity teas. Are you kidding? Holy shit.
I'm sure it'll pick you up in the darkness down here, at least.
This is my favorite person. Thanks. Or maybe I should, because he did say he liked floral teas. I didn't take you for a fruity tea person.
Really? Is it because I'm so gloomy? I dress in black with a spinal cord as my boots heal.
Slay.
Is it because of the desolation? Even in the ash storm, I've made my own light. I prefer the fruitier teas to the bitter blends.
He placed the straw between the bars of his muzzle so he could take a sip. It was scorching hot and he was drinking it immediately.
So, shall we start this over?
Dude, Dorian is the best, actually. Dorian was cut off by a sound hitting the window nearby. The two of us turned to find the source. It was a bird with black feathers that contrasted against the light dust of the outside storm. It stared at me for a few seconds, flapping its wings to keep its place. And before I could process it, the bird flew off into the chaos. I noticed them earlier. Why do you have birds?
I don't know, but they don't bother me. I let them fly about. Some of them nest on the spires. Blackbirds are my favorite animal.
Impeccable taste. He cleared his throat and resumed the conversation.
You have recently died, and you were sent to Limbo, the first circle. Now you seek to descend through each circle until you reach Satan at the 9th. You hope to state your case and be allowed into the heavens.
Okay, so that's my goal. I was wondering why we were doing this. Incredible, thank you for telling me. That's correct.
Now, do you know why you were brought down to hell?
I don't. I've been a devotee of the Lord all my life.
So you intend to entreat with the devil without knowing what you may have done wrong?
I believe it's a mistake. That I was mistaken for someone else.
Really now?
That's probably not how it works, I'll say that. That's what I think. Especially because everyone has been so kind to me as I've traveled down. If it's not exactly a mistake, then it's a test. He said nothing, tapping his fingers instead on the cup in his hand.
We should start from the beginning then, shouldn't we? Perhaps we can discover where your purported sin lies if we talk about you. When did you die?
January 1st.
On the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God?
Yes. I was on my way to Mass.
That's unfortunate. And how did you die?
I fell. Before going into the church, someone asked me to help with something on the roof. We had been doing renovations, you see, and we had some birds that began to nest on the steeple. Someone asked me to climb up one of the ladders to try and whisk the birds away. It would have been bad for them and bad for us.
Of course.
But as I climbed up the ladder, I must have slipped on the last step. I think one of the birds flew out and startled me. So I fell off and onto my back. I could hear nothing, and all I could feel was blood. It felt like it was everywhere, squirting against my neck, dripping down my forehead and clustering in my eyes. My body felt wrong, bent in every wrong angle and shape. I looked up and watched the sky until my vision went dark. It was like watching a solar eclipse. And then, I ended up here. Not in your circle, obviously.
Do you regret dying, Fallen?
He had called me that before, and only now did I find it odd. I was gonna say, huh, Fallen, interesting. Little on the nose there, huh? I didn't tell Dorian my cause of death before this. I I do kind of want to know where that came about. Why do you keep calling me Fallen? This is my first time telling you how I died.
Is it?
You already knew about my death, didn't you? I heard birds and everything.
Fallen is a nickname that I give to those who come down here to beg forgiveness from the fallen angel himself. People who believe they have fallen from where they should be. Fallen from the earth and down here instead. It's a coincidence.
Okay.
You don't
Keep
have
your
to believe me.
secrets.
I'm not expecting validation from you. You're in my domain, after all. Everything you're seeing in front of you could be a lie. Who knows? But it's no use dwelling on hypotheticals. We have more important things to discuss.
Go on, bestie.
Your locket.
Oh? Huh? He held his hand out to me.
Let me see it.
I'd nearly forgotten the new piece of jewelry which sat loosely around my neck, after I tried prying it open to no avail in the second circle. Why?
You know how people will keep the portraits and memories of their loved ones tucked in a locket close to their heart, so they do not forget what is most important to them? It's similar to that, only it's with your memories.
I unhooked the silver clasp sitting at the back of my neck and handed it to him. He was careful not to touch the clasp, but why? The keepers of those circles offered no response when I asked about its purpose. Dorian stood up and walked to a row of books behind him. Each looked old, older than any church I had ever visited.
It shall be easier to pass through if we can just...
He picked up the fifth book from the left, which had a faded label with... what is that? 10... What is that? 13? Because X is 10, and I think so.
This one should work.
My Roman numerals are rusty. Dorian began flipping through the pages, being gentle with each one. Every so often, he pushed his glasses up with his index finger. What are you doing?
I'm trying to find an empty page. There we are.
He had opened a page towards the end of the book. It was decorated in a border of twigs and birds, painted in neutral matte colors. The most peculiar part was the oval-shaped hole in the middle of the page. Dorian placed the book on the table. He then placed the locket in the hole. It fit perfectly. I looked at his face, admiring the way his eyebrows knitted and lips parted in concentration. Is this demon dating?
We then
I'm just
close
saying.
that,
I'm asking.
and now all we do is wait.
He used the chain of the locket as a bookmark before he closed the book shut. What does that do?
It will write out your life story for me, all on one page.
I was gonna say, I bet the locket, yeah, he said it holds the memories, so he's finding a blank page to write out the memories.
We need only give it a few minutes. Can I interest you in more tea?
I think I'm alright, thank you. Let me finish this cup.
All right.
Dorian stood up, taking his cup and returning to the corner where he had originally made the tea. I looked down at the liquid swirling in my cup. When I glanced back up, Dorian was staring at me with a soft expression on his face. Dorian.
Oh, apologies.
He turned away from me and began rummaging around in the drawers. Oh. I'm gonna ask about himself. Can I ask you some questions?
I'm an open book.
Are you lonely? It feels like he is.
What does it matter to you? Do you care for a demon all of a sudden?
Yes.
Really?
We're supposed to be compassionate, even for those in darkness.
I wouldn't say I'm in darkness. I'm constantly surrounded by burning tombs.
Really funny, Dorian. We were interrupted by a bird's chirping. That's a horrible noise. Dorian walked back over to me and gently placed his hand on the book, tracing the corners, stitching with his finger.
It's ready.
Don't play that again. That was a bad noise. Dorian opened the book and picked it up, hiding most of his face behind the pages. Every so often, he looked back up at me, eyes full of either delight or curiosity. He'd nod as if to confirm some unsaid suspicion. I glanced to the window. The storm seemed to be raging with no end in sight. Have you found anything yet?
I think so. There is something overarching, but I can pull out a specific moment. Do you remember the church you volunteered to work with to help serve food to those who were underprivileged?
Yes. It was cold that day in January. I underdressed and I was shivering. There were birds and squirrels outside, peering in on us through the church's windows. They'd start with a sermon before we were allowed to serve food. So they brought up the story of the feeding of the 5,000.
Then he commanded the multitudes to sit down on the grass, and he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitudes. So they all ate and were filled, and they took up 12 baskets full of the fragments that remained. Now those who had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Matthew 14, verses 19 through 21.
I think I laughed at that.
Really?
Because he's summoning an endless amount of bread, basically. How is that possible? I understood what the passage was saying, to make use of what you have. But I didn't take it literally.
There are many absurdities in the texts. Silly things, annoying things, things that don't make sense.
Hold on. So, sorry, Magnus lore time. I was raised Christian. I was not raised Catholic. There are differences. And in the Christianity, at least that I was raised in, speaking from personal experience, they believe everything that happened in the Bible. Like, they take that literally. Like, Jesus did feed all of those people. So it's strange that this person we're playing as, who's very religious, obviously, going to church and volunteering and doing all this stuff, would not take it literally? Is that like a Catholic thing? I feel like it's not. I'm unsure, because I don't know. But again, speaking from my personal experience, the people I went to church with would believe this stuff. Like, obviously there's, like, messages, but, like, they think it actually happened. So, I don't know, man.
It's like how we think of Greek and Roman mythology nowadays. Less so that it really happened, and as more of a fable.
Well, yeah, but people in the church don't think it's a fable. Am I nuts?
I think of Ambrose Bierce in a more modern context.
Don't know who that
So
is.
you take a lot of what's in your text as lessons, rather than fact.
That's odd. Yes.
So do I.
Okay. I mean, honestly, that's a better way to... I'm just saying, like, canonically in religion, I feel like that's not what people necessarily do. They do both.
And therein lies your sin.
Okay, are we...
You don't take it literally.
Yeah.
And that's a heresy.
Okay, maybe if I would have shut up and played more of the game. But it's exactly what I'm saying. Before I could have any sort of reaction, Dorian continued.
It's unfair, isn't it? To be curious. To question what you're reading or what you're being told. To think some things are too big, too fantastic for the mediocre world you live in. And to be punished in the end for questioning someone. Lucifer fell because he questioned God. Wants to say he isn't doing the same to you right now. Someone who has been a devout, loyal follower, despite never seeing his face.
That's such an innocent sin, though, isn't it? It's human nature. That's part of why we must forgive and repent, because we're flawed.
But why is that a bad thing? No one should expect someone as wonderful as you
Oh my god, thank you.
all the time, because you're perfect in your own right.
Wow, flattery much? What are you saying?
I have a question for you.
Go
Do
off.
you still want to go down? Do you still want to face Satan? He will reject you, you know. Even if he believes in you. You know what your Creator will say. He'll cast you right back down here.
Yeah, probably.
And it will have to be here. Do you truly wish to go through such effort, only to be humiliated and rejected?
I mean, if this is what hell is, no, I'd be chill here.
I'd hate to see that on you. I really would. But it's your own decision. If you stay here, I will take care of you.
Okay.
I will tell you everything you want to know.
Okay.
If you would continue down, I will ensure that the keepers of those circles treat you with kindness and lead you to Satan easily.
See, he could definitely be lying, and this could be like plot twist. You choose to stay with him, and he just fucking kills you or something. Who's to say?
Then, if you are rejected,
I don't care.
I will welcome you upon your return with open arms.
What if I'm not?
I don't think you'll make it to the paradise you desire. Because in truth, it's not as fantastic as they make it up to be. But, as I said, it's your decision.
Man, huh? I assume staying would mean that that's like one of the endings. That's so tough, because he's like, even if you get cast back down, I'll take you with open arms. And it's like, I want to see what more the game has to offer. But man, Dorian's cool as hell. Maybe I'll save right here really quick. Okay. Because I can always go back. I'm gonna stay. I grabbed for one of the hands clasped around the other. A soft sound of surprise came from his mouth. I want to stay. It's nice here, and you've been very loving to me. Loving in a way I've never felt before, never understood. And if what you're saying is true, then what's the point in even trying? He smiled, and even through the bars of the muzzle it was bright.
Yes, you're right. It's fantastic here. With you, I could never ask for anyone else to spend my time with. Would you like to explore the other wings now? I have so much to show you.
He held my hand and dragged me through the halls of his library, full of forbidden falsehoods. The whole time he was smiling, eyes lit up with stars, despite the darkened sclera and sunken irises. He didn't tell me yet why he was so infatuated with me. Why exactly things had transpired the way they had. I knew he would, though, eventually. Okay, ending 3, wow. Some things are best in the shadows of secrecy. Interesting. Okay, so honestly, I would consider that a good ending. Again, there are 6 endings. I don't know what they all entail, but that was a pretty good one. Like, if it were me, I'd be happy with that. Are you kidding? Okay, so I looked up a guide for the endings because every time I play a game with, like, multiple endings, like a visual novel or something, I'm like, I'm just gonna do one ending, and then I'm gonna quit there, because... But I always end up doing all the endings. I always end up doing that. And you know what? I just have to accept that about myself. So I looked up a guide for all of the endings. We're gonna get ending 1. Yeah, basically, we're not gonna, like, hold his hand or anything. Like, we're just gonna do whatever. So... Wow, the skip button sure does work. I'll say that. So we are supposed to ask about the fires for ending 1. So let's do that. That'll be the same. Then we are going to... It doesn't say for this one, so maybe it doesn't matter, but we're just gonna stand next to him. I declined the hand and instead stood next to him. Can't
Stay
talk.
close to me. It's not going to kill you. but it'll get in your lungs and ruin your clothes.
And the two of us walked through fog and past uncovered graves. Okay, I think this will all be the same, so... Alright, this one is because you're not human. You're a creature born of malice and evil. You could never understand the grace and warmth of the church. Dorian laughed, covering his mouth with his hand. Was it to feign politeness?
You are funny. What would you say if I told you I was human, the same as you, in a time long past?
I guess it makes sense. Even Satan was once an angel.
And all these years later, he still has the beauty of one. You'll learn, oh sweet fallen. Now, shall we go in?
Okay. Yeah, I can see how this gets a different ending, because now he's not gonna like you. Okay, follow him instead, once again. I don't think I'll get lost if I stay nearby you, right?
You won't, but the halls of the library can get cold. It helps to preserve some objects. I just don't want you to freeze before you reach the 9th circle.
Are you trying to flirt with me? All he did was smile. Yeah! Whatever. Okay, next one.
This is one of my many
Okay.
studies. I never get to use them, only for the sparse company.
He opened it and bowed, a free hand extended into the room. I followed his lead and walked in. Okay, this is the same, I think? Yes. Okay, we are going to not read the letter. It's rude to read someone else's mail. I placed the letter on top of my new pile and waited for Dorian. He returned with 2 cups. Okay. I assume this is the same. We're just gonna say thanks. Thank you.
Anything for you. You are a guest in my home. If you need anything else, please let me know. Okay?
How kind of him. He placed the straw. Okay. The next one, I think is... Yeah, so we're gonna answer the question. It was his choice to bring me to heaven, and this is his test.
His choice?
Everything is, isn't it?
I think this is why I like you so much.
Huh?
You're so innocent. So naive. You believe a benevolent God would kill you so violently, and then send you down to what he considers the pits, the tombs, the depths, that he would abandon you like this.
I told you, it's a test for entry into the heavens.
Revelations 21:4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Conflict is what drives the human species. It's what drives innovation and love. If you had an eternity in paradise, would you want to do anything? Think of any desires you had as a mortal. All of those things you wished to do before you died. Travel, fall in love, make something worth remembering, learn something new, leave an impact.
Okay, for the first... Okay. We're supposed to call out the heresy for ending 1. But isn't that heresy? That God and his heaven would be boring? How would you know?
How do you know that he isn't? Have you been there? Have you met souls who've come back from such a paradise?
Part of what makes heaven so great is that God is there.
And you think he's going to play dollhouse with you? Oh, darling, it's so lovely to see you here with me and the countless millions of people I've led astray. I can be the father, and you can be the mother, and everyone else can be our children and our dogs. If I were there, I'd try to kill myself again.
Lore? Why am I even sitting here and talking to you?
Because you can't leave. There's a storm raging outside, and your soul would corrode before you ever saw the shores of your warped idea of paradise. I apologize. I ought to stop. Berating you and your beliefs is not what I'm here to do.
This guy was getting on my last nerves. Alright, and we're supposed to walk out. I'm just gonna find the elevator myself.
Is that your decision?
Yes.
If you insist.
He snapped his fingers and I heard the sound of metal in the distance. Did you lock the doors?
I have unlocked them. You can go to the right, walk for 2 minutes until you see a sign that says 19th wing, and then make another right. There will be a door that you can exit through. But know this, when you begin to perish, as dust burns in your eyes and ash fills your lungs, dragging your body down, I will be there to carry you back to this church of forbidden knowledge.
I left without another look or another word. I didn't know how long I'd been walking through the thick clouds of ash. My legs were on the verge of giving out. Ash stuck to my skin like dead cells. My eyes were growing heavy. Through my limited sight, I saw no signs of the elevator to the next floor. Was it even out here? I didn't know. I couldn't think. I was coughing up too much dust to think straight. And eventually I fell to the ground. My back was against the dirt. My head was facing the sky, burdened by the embers of burning tombs. The Lord was not going to save me here. I was going to die again, in the exact same position. Except this time, I would be without the sticky clumps of blood which clung to my skin. I closed my eyes and tried my best to drown it all out. To drown out the sound of dust and birds.
You should have listened.
True. I couldn't react with the heavy feeling in my body, like rocks under my skin that were weighing me down. Arms wrapped around my body and pulled me into the air. I was being held, no, cradled in them. And we were walking. He was walking with his back against the storm.
What am I going to do with you? I'll fix you right up and start over. Perhaps.
For the first time since I'd met him, he hesitated. Truly hesitated.
I'll worry about that later.
I opened one of my eyes to look up at Dorian. Instead, all I saw was a bird flying into the storm. I closed it again and melted into the cold of Heresy's master. Alright, ending one. No matter how much I scrub at my tongue, the taste of blood remains. So fairly open-ended ending there. Maybe just with how kind of stubborn the characters' choices were, they're just kind of doomed to do this again and again. Maybe that's perhaps what Dorian meant by kind of like starting over and wiping him clean or whatever. Like, just gonna have to happen again and again until maybe something changes. I don't know, but I liked the other ending better, that's for sure. That one you're mean to Dorian, and I don't like that. But, we're gonna get ending 2. So let's start that, huh? I really like how easy it is to skip. It goes so fast. Oh my god. It makes my life a whole lot easier. I love it. Okay, this time, for ending 2, we're gonna ask about the muzzle. Why do you wear a muzzle?
It's the first thing you notice.
People do not typically walk around wearing metal like that on their faces.
Typically. It was placed upon me by someone else. He said it's supposed to stop me from lying. In truth, it doesn't work. But I find it does make for a pretty accessory.
Fun. This choice doesn't seem to matter, so I'm gonna ask, can you take it off?
No, not on my own at least. It is unlocked with a key which I do not possess. I cannot saw, cut, or burn through the metal, but that's all right with me. I've never needed to take it off. But enough of all that.
Dorian raised a hand at the sky, palm up. There was a look of annoyance which briefly came over his face. Okay, I think this is the same, so we're gonna skip. We're gonna stand next to him once again, so we're gonna skip. That's because you're not human. Bop. Follow him. Bop. Don't read the letter. This one doesn't say, so I'm just gonna say thanks. This one, answer his question once again. I don't think this says either. I'm gonna say this. And then it says say nothing. I couldn't think of a response. He seemed satisfied with that.
If we're done, good. We have more important things to discuss. Your locket.
Okay. So I'm gonna skip. Yeah, I think it's just in the wrong order. Whatever. Okay, ask about a staring is the next one. Why are you staring at me like that?
I was making sure you wouldn't touch the book while it was processing. Not that I don't trust you. It has happened before. Most people who make it to my circle end up dying in it.
Yikes. He'd mentioned this before, but he's being so careful with me. And so had everyone else. Of those who go to convince Satan, how many make it to your circle?
Around 1 to 4% of those who try.
And the other keepers of the higher circles kill the rest.
Sometimes they end the suffering of the poor soul before they're humiliated by Satan on the bottom floor. Other times, a rogue demon or beast gets them. They might even succumb to the hellish scenery and atmosphere itself.
Then how come no one's tried to do this to me? All I've done was appear and explain my situation, and everyone's led me to their elevators with no malicious intent.
Perhaps they really believe you.
It says say nothing, so I will not. It wasn't worth pressing on. You're interrupted by birds chirping. Okay.
It's ready.
I think we skip. Even if I've been watching you all these years, I'm now unsure what to think.
I thought this could work out. Would you like to know something?
What?
The elevator has been inside my library this whole time.
Oh shit. A small grin formed behind the muzzle. Why didn't you tell me earlier?
Because I wanted to talk to you.
He pulled the locket out of the book and placed it in my hand.
But I think I'm done now. Would you like to go to the next floor? I'll escort you.
Before I could react, he grabbed my wrist, fingertips pressing into my skin. Ow.
Don't resist, dear fallen.
And so Dorian pulled me out of the room and back into the echoing halls of the building. Wait. Whatever I yelled at him was going in one ear, out the other. I tried stopping and being against his hand, but it would not budge. He was dragging me like a doll. When we reached a bookshelf with only green books, Dorian grabbed a random one off the third shelf from the top. The shelves parted open, and they revealed a single elevator of modern design. Dorian threw me into the elevator. My head clattered against the back wall, sending a ringing through my ears.
The next circle will not be as kind to you as I have been. The lakes of blood and the bodies within them will drown you in their anger. All I can do is wish you luck.
Wait. I reached my hand out and started moving towards the elevator's open door. But without another word, Dorian began to walk away, and the door closed on me. The elevator began traveling down, and I had no time to process what had just happened or what was to come. I looked at the locket, clasping my fingers around its metal. I closed my eyes and breathed a shaky sigh. I feared he was right. That I would die in the circle of violence without a hand to guide me down. Ending 2. Not everything is as beautiful as I expect it to be. You pissed him off! I guess I did technically, but whatever. So, then we're gonna get ending 4. So let's do that. It's gonna be a lot of stuff that we've seen before, it seems like. I keep forgetting I have to type in my name. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna ask about the fires. We're gonna take his hand, so we're gonna be nice to him again. That's understandable. Oh. Take his hand. I'm scared of getting lost. That's new. The last thing I'd want is to get swallowed up in hell forever. I'm trying to get out of here.
I appreciate the honesty. I once had a girl come down here to try and do the same thing as you. She was swallowed into the obscure and never returned. I don't quite know what happened to her. One of the books may have swallowed her up. I have one that begs for blood. Not that I have any to offer.
Do you get many human visitors?
No. Heresy is placed 2/3 of the way to treachery. Most souls seeking an audience with Satan do not make it past the second circle. They either come to terms with their sin, or those who dwell above succumb to their hunger and finish them off for good.
I swallowed at the thought when we started walking. Okay, I think this is the same. That's interesting. We are gonna read the letter again. So we'll skip. Ask to see the collections later. Say thanks. Answer the question. We're gonna agree. Heaven might be boring. It might be scary. I don't know at the end of the day. No matter how much we read, how much we pray, we don't really know.
That is true. Have you ever considered that your pastor's interpretation, or maybe your own, of holy texts could be wrong? It's like an English class. There is an interpretation that your professor may project. There's an interpretation which stems from the context of the time and place in which it was written. There's an interpretation directly from the author. Then there's your interpretation. Oh, darling.
Dorian, can I ask you something?
You can ask me anything.
You push this idea that heaven is a boring place. Is it the same for hell, or someone who is not suffering?
Only the truly wicked suffer. But it would take up too many resources to make an exponential amount of souls suffer for eternity. We may have eternity, but we like to make things quick.
That's not exactly what I'm trying to ask. Are you bored down here?
Bored? I wouldn't say so. I have lots of work to do. Bodies to burn, people to release, books to catalogue. Sometimes they allow me to gaze upon the human world and observe the living before they fall into the circles.
I cut him off. Are you lonely? I haven't seen anyone else here, except for you. You must get lonely with no one to talk to. He did not respond for a few moments. He may have seemed like he was looking at me, but instead he was looking through me.
I suppose I do get lonely. I have friends. Other demons mostly, who come to visit and assist, but they leave. They have to. They have other obligations and their own concerns to consider. I just wish that...
He swallowed and closed his eyes.
Pay me no mind. We have more pressing issues to worry about. Your locket.
Okay. This should be the same, I assume. We're gonna ask him about himself. Are you lonely once again?
You asked this earlier.
I did. I know.
Why?
Oh my god, okay. The ending for this, sorry, I have to lift my leg up, is because I want to fix that. It's giving holes. You know that movie? Where he goes, I can fix that? That. He stopped what he was doing. A heavy sigh ripped from his throat, and he refused to look at me.
And how could you fix that?
By staying here with you.
You don't want to do that. Here in Heresy, it's cold, and you would have to endure me for eternity. I'm not very enjoyable.
It's not enjoyable because you've never had anyone to enjoy it with. It seemed he considered what I said. His head hung, presumably to look at his hands. I think this is the same, isn't it? He said I couldn't take it anymore.
I came to the mortal world as a bird, to observe those following a faith I had come to detest.
Okay.
That was the first time I saw you.
Okay.
I don't know what it was about you, but you caught my eye in a way no soul ever has.
So you're saying I'm special.
Every so often, I would visit you as a raven outside your window, whether it be in a holy place or in the confines of your home. I knew your beliefs. I knew you. And you were fantastic. But I knew you would have to come down here eventually, because you were so uniquely you. Frankly, I was selfish. I could have waited for you to die much, much later.
Oh.
But I wanted to see you now.
Oh.
And I thought that if you lived your whole life only to be sent to hell for being human, it would be worse on you. So I killed you.
Yeah.
I was the bird that flew from the spire and caused you to fall. I didn't mean for you to die like that, but that's how it happened. And you came down here to me after I asked everyone above to be nice to you, just so you wouldn't fall victim to their
That
anger.
makes so much sense.
And here you are, looking as beautiful as you've ever been.
That makes
And I
so
haven't been
much
able to stop looking
sense.
at you ever since. I've kept my composure, but I want to be with you like this forever.
Dorian hugged me, arms tight around my body. No words were able to come from my mouth. I couldn't process anything. Was I in shock, disbelief? Was I feeling the same, or was I feeling differently? How had he done all of this, just for someone like me? I felt his gloved hand wipe at a liquid trailing down my face. Was I crying? He pressed his forehead against mine, his head tilted slightly due to the muzzle forced onto his visage. His pinky finger found its way around mine, holding onto it tightly.
It's okay. You don't have to say anything. I already know that you feel the same way I do. And you want to stay. And even if you don't, we have an eternity to figure it out.
He smiled warmly, perhaps for the first time since we had met in Heresy's circle. And whether by compulsion or true feelings, I couldn't help but smile as well.
I love you.
Ending 4. A confession of personal sin can be a loving release. That's my favorite ending so far. That makes everything make so much more sense. Oh my god. Because I was like, thinking in my head, I'm like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for him to be like, oh, I don't know why they're all being so nice to you. They just believe in you, I guess. And I'm like, okay, right. So it makes so much more sense for him to have, like, slipped him a 20 under the table and been like, hey, be nice to this soul that I sent down here. And the fact that he's the one responsible for your death because he, like, became obsessed with you is incredible. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. That I love a good, like, kind of insane character. Like, before he just seemed so, like, warm and kind and just lonely, but that gives such a different layer to his character, and oh my god. Oh, I love that. I don't know if any of the other endings are gonna top that, man. Wait, why are there only 5? Okay, I figured it out, because there's the 6th ending is a secret ending. And it seems really interesting. So I looked up the walkthrough. We're gonna do ending 5 before we do anything crazy. Alright. Name time once again. Okay, we are going to ask about the fires. Take his hand. It's because you're not human. Take his hand once again, though. Because I trust you.
Despite what I am, you trust me.
I feel that if you wanted to kill me, you would have tried by now. But you've been only kind to me in the ash. Dorian smiled.
You're so innocent. It's cute.
Okay. With the extra context, boy oh boy. We're not gonna read the letter. I didn't take you for a fruity tea person. Call out the nickname. Ask about the staring. Say nothing. Ooh, okay. Stay with Dorian or we're gonna go to the next circle. I think I'm going to try. It can't hurt to try and see what happens. And if I come back, then I come back.
If that's your choice, follow me.
He led me out of the room and back into the hallway. The elevator's always been in the building?
Yes, it has. Why I didn't say this earlier isn't for you to know.
We walked for maybe 10 minutes, past paintings and shelves and ancient artifacts. He stopped at an unsuspecting shelf where all the books were the same color. Dorian pulled on one book and the shelves opened outward to reveal a modern elevator.
This will take you down to Violence, the 7th circle. Just let them know I allowed you down. They'll know what to do.
I pressed the button labeled 7. Dorian raised one hand and waved it shyly, like he wasn't sure if he should.
Good luck down there.
Thank you, Dorian. He had kept eye contact until the elevator had closed completely. I began traveling downwards. I didn't know how long it would take, and I wasn't sure how to process my emotions along the way. I just had to hope he was telling the truth. Ending 5, sent to my doom, back, crying in your arms. So, again, fairly open-ended, but by that, we can probably assume that when he said, they'll know what to do, probably was like, if he goes down, make sure he comes back up. You know what I'm saying? Whatever means necessary. So, that's what I assume for that. Now, the secret ending may take me a moment, because the secret ending says that you need to replay ending 1 5 times. It doesn't say in a row. I'm thinking maybe I just have to play it 4 more times. Even if it's 5 times in a row, who cares? It's super easy to skip and stuff, so I will see you guys in a moment, just because playing through it that many times, it will still take a sec. Okay, yep, here it is. Alright, so it was 5 times in a row, by the way. So, the first time we got ending 1 didn't count towards it. So here we are. Haven't I been here a few times already? My body was starting to weigh me down like an anchor. Maybe I should lay down. Let the ash swarm over me once more and swallow me whole. I lay down on the ground with my face towards the sky and attempted to sleep. What the huh? There was a pressure on my chest, heavier than ash in the lungs. I opened my eyes and rubbed them. Confusion knit itself into my expression and mind. Was this an otter? What was an otter doing here, hidden among the ash storms of heresy? Hi there. I gave the otter my hand. It took no time to sniff or observe me before it nuzzled its face against my palm. At least, as much as it could, for it had a muzzle clamped around its mouth. Wow. You know who you remind me of, little buddy? Squeak? You remind me of the keeper of this circle himself. Can I name you Otter Dorian? Squeak. Aw. You even have his little glasses and his hat. And his ever-flowing love. Otter Dorian seemed happy at that statement, continuing to rub itself against my palm, body flailing playfully. It seemed very happy at my pets. What amazed me the most was that the creature's hat was staying on its head, no matter how much it moved around. You're so cute. I could just play with you forever. Squeak! It seemed excited about that. An utterly amazing discovery. A nodder ending. Achieve the secret ending. Thank you for playing 1016. Why do you keep returning? Achieve all endings. Oh my god.
Dearest fallen.
Oh.
That I should find myself here, bidding you a fond farewell, is the strangest feeling. For many years, I've watched you with burgeoning adoration, and I've longed for your presence here in my lonely domain. And the thought of letting you go so soon after we finally met is most definitely a bitter pill to swallow. And furthermore, I've sent you down on a trial no mortal was ever supposed to endure, given the frailty of your souls. I may be the demon of heresy. It is in my nature to cast doubt, to mislead, to lie. Mine is the realm of warped belief. I've seen centuries of lambs being condemned to these depths by those that should have saved them. Yet perhaps the cruel irony is that I have faith in you. You will return to me at the end of a long and arduous journey, to be mine for eternity. But now the creatures of the circles have tasted the sweetness of your soul, and even in life they will come for you, lurking in the mirrors and the shadows to try to steal you away. I will do what I can for you from here, dear fallen. But the battle I have thrust you into is a war you must wage from now until your part is played. Can you still hear me, fallen, as you plunge into the murky depths of hell? If you can, hear this. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. Matthew 10:16.
I was hoping they would tell me what the 1016 was about. I was like, I know it's a Bible verse, but I don't know. Oh my god. How sick. Look at all that. Cats really did all sorts of shit. So cool. I love that there's like an after ending scene for after getting the secret ending. Oh my god. The fact that probably not a ton of people have seen that is like so sad, because how sick was that? Wow. That did not go how I thought it would. I definitely thought it would be more about, you know, going through hell, but it was more like character focused. Oh my god, I love that the last shot is that of the pinkies together. Yeah. Yeah. We look forward to your return. That was so cool. Oh my god. I still think that, what was it, ending 3? I don't remember. I think it was ending 3. The one where it's, you know, revealed, like, who he is and what he did and stuff. So So good. I loved that. God, the art is so great. The colors, like, oh my god, everything. Yeah, definitely the story wasn't what I expected it to be, but not in, like, a bad way. Like, it just went in a different direction. I will apologize because I thought Dorian was a girl when I first saw the art of him. My bad, he is just a femboy. From one femboy to another, I apologize, sir. My bad. But, god, that was really cool. I'm really glad that I did get all the endings and that it was really easy to get all the endings. Because a lot of visual novels, when I try to get multiple endings, like, the skip doesn't work very well. And it takes me for fucking ever, actually. This was so, like, nice to play. The skip worked fantastically. It went so fast. It didn't skip over anything that I hadn't seen before. Like, it really... Y'all, claps to the people who made the game, because, it's so much smoother than a lot of other visual novels I've played. But yeah, this game is free. I don't think I mentioned it, but this is a totally free game. You don't have to pay anything for it. This well overly worth that price point. Honestly, I probably would have paid money for the game, but the fact that it's free is, like, such a treat. And I just love it. I love it a lot. This is really good. Anyways, though, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, especially if you made it this far. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, what is going on? It's kind of weird, I'll say it. Kind of strange. All of my socials will be down in my description if you'd like to follow me on anything else. And go ahead and like the video if you liked it. Share it with everybody and everybody if you so choose. If there's any games you want me to play, leave them down in the comments. I love playing suggested games. Makes me happy. That's it, though. Thank you guys so much again. In the meantime, before next week, don't climb up onto a roof and get scared by birds, because that won't end well, as we've seen. So don't do that, but otherwise, yeah. Hope that you all have a good one.